your main event. Introducing the hosts of Wrestling with Freddie, Jeff Dye, and Freddie Prinze Jr.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to a brand new episode of Wrestling with Friends. With me, as always, is the great Jeff Dye. I'm Freddie Prinze Jr. Let's start the show. All right, dude. First, some news. And remember, we're not doing the news guy voice anymore. That shit is gone. It's just.
But I do miss it sometimes.
I'll send you messages then. AEW has signed yet another deal with Warner Brothers Discovery. I hate all this merging corporate.
I know.
Cyberpunk.
For our
bullshit.
listeners, Freddie, tell us what that means and why that's important. Why would they care if wrestling goes to Warner Brothers or whatever?
Okay. I believe studios should be independent. I believe that's the only way to truly make art in the way the visionaries see art, whether it's professional wrestling, whether it's soap operas, whether it's movies or television, stand-up comedy. When you have a corporate buyout, you are then beholden to that corporation's philosophies on your art. So your art is no longer art. It is simply commerce. It's the way Japanese people traded paintings in the 90s like stocks. It takes everything magical and special away. And all these critics out there criticize the creators instead of focusing on what the actual problem is. I promise you, every writer has a script that's not some intellectual property owned by something else. It's an original idea and it's really fucking good. And every single one of them has at least one sitting in a pile that can't even get read because of corporate philosophies or because it has a storyline that doesn't meld well. And It makes art suck. It makes wrestling suck. It makes movies suck. It makes TV suck. So that's the bad stuff. The good stuff is these creators get a ton more money. If they're smart, they put it into their product. Back to the business. AEW just signed for twice the amount that they did last time, which should mean they can put that money back into their product. They can continue to make signings that people think are, oh, that's a little high. Well, all of a sudden, no, it's not. It's a bargain because they just got a huge ass contract and they can secure the talent they have now. It's still a company that is being built. It is 5 freaking years old. That is so young. Your babies are 5. Your babies out there are 5 years old. You give them a little more time. They screw up. They make mistakes. They forget to put their napkin on their lap. They forget to eat their vegetables because they're yucky. And you remind them, you help them, you give them time. You got to give this company time. With a deal like this, they can continue to grow and do big things, Jeff. But that's not all the wrestling news out there. WWE has more news because they're even bigger. They have more news. First of all, they changed Smackdown to USA. So Friday nights, everybody, make sure your DVRs are recorded no matter where it goes because they're all AI controlled. But they also changed the logo from SmackDown to SmackSound, which sounds a little strange and weird, but we're going to just go with it. I'm sure they'll be changing that in the next few weeks. It's just a giant.
I heard a lot of people like it.
They like the SmackSound?
Yeah. Okay. Well, no, they like the way it looks because it's also I don't know.
There's no D in it.
Who they got this information, but WrestleMania on YouTube is reporting that they love the new look and it makes them look more modern. But I don't know who they asked because that's a strange.
I know who they didn't ask. They didn't reach out to yours truly. I did not think it looked more modern at all. I thought it looked very 90s, but the 90s are back big time, so that could be cool. But yeah, they took the D out of SmackDown, and it's not SmackDown. They added an extra S, so it's SmackSound. So I'll refer to it from now on as SmackSound until they get it together. But they had their 37th television sellout, Jeff. How many consecutive sellouts have you had? Huh? Not 37, I
I'm
bet.
right back down to 0. I think my best ever is 5. After this weekend in Tulsa, we're right back at 0. So 5 is my most for sure.
That's all right, dude. My hit movies went to 0 after a couple too. I had to start over again. Every artist has been there.
That's the point.
All right, so they had 37 in a row. It's the 50th plus event sellout in 2024. WWE, I saw a quote from The Miz. He said he's been here in the company 20 years. He's never seen audiences like this. Think about
that's cool.
All these people saying wrestling sucks, but it keeps getting bigger and growing more and more. Not every year, like almost every month. It's crazy. people say AEW's failing, and then they get a huge TV deal, giving him even more money than he had the first time around. And there's rumors out there that they got something else cooking too. So yeah, man, wrestling is killing it. Don't forget, Unsanctioned Thursday, we're bringing in another guest. We're doing our indie spotlight. This time we're bringing in dos personas. Dos wrestlers will be coming, or luchadores. They might not be luchadores. You don't know what they're going to be, but they'll be there Thursday, so tune into that.
We prefer them to be luchas. I do.
Actually, well, I would too. That's my favorite.
Yeah, I'm biased, but I'll admit it. I don't give a shit.
Should we get into the Netflix news?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's talk about it.
There's a lot of news, man. I feel like Tom Brokaw. Ladies and gentlemen. Oh, no, I'm not doing voices. No, I'm not doing voices. Almost got him. Almost got him, audience. Almost got him. So the Monday Night Raw contract with USA is over, which is kind of sad, dude. I know they have a home. They have a landing pad that's worth much more money. So I'm not crying for them. But I remember in the 80s, there was a boxing show on USA. I think it was called Tuesday Night Fights. And it had the announcer was an ex-boxer named Sean O'Grady, ex-champion. He was good on the mic. And it was every single week, and I counted on it every week. And it was boxing on basically free television, right? It wasn't pay-per-view. And you would get championship fights, guys like Wayne McCullough. Shout out to Wayne McCullough. I know Wayne now. And then one day, boxing numbers started to dwindle because of the corruption of the promoters who are getting, if you guys want to know some good shit, like the promoters are starting to get asked out of all these deals, and the distributors are just dealing with the fighters now, and all these scumbag promoters are going to be done. Dunzos. I've been waiting for this moment forever, dude. It could save boxing if we get rid of these fuckers and we could actually get men fighting men that they want to fight, and we can see who the best is. So that's awesome news too.
My only criticism of karma is how it takes so long sometimes.
You're not lying. A lot of people don't live to see the karma happen.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So anyway, I don't know how I got the end of Monday Night Raw on USA. And eventually Friday Night Smackdown, I don't think will be on USA either. I think that's a temporary thing. The USA needs wrestling. It's their highest rated show. And Friday Night Smackdown I don't know, because Friday nights is a tough night for ratings. So are Monday nights when football's back. But they've landed at Netflix. They've got a $18 trillion deal. That's exact numbers. They're going to be fine, but they're going to have commercials. And the Netflix philosophy is the audience is used to commercials, so they won't be mad at commercials, which means you'll basically be bringing the existing WWE audience over. I don't know how that affects the existing customers already at Netflix that are accustomed to not having commercials. I don't think
that is kind of the idea, that they want more people who already have Netflix, who don't have cable.
So I don't know. But I'm sure they have a more well thought out plan than I just came up with in 10 seconds. So I'm sure they have statistics and all that, because Netflix is very, very analytical. They gave me some weird number. I don't know if I'm supposed to say this. When you do a movie for them, I don't know if they're supposed to release analytics, but I was given analytics on what Netflix watchers will watch me in and what they won't. At least what the analytic tells them, what the AI program tells them people will watch. And it was like romantic comedy, sexy thriller, or holiday movie. And I was like, yeah, well, what if I wanted to make an action movie? And basically the response was, the algorithm will not allow that. And I was just like, yo, what kind of world do we live in? I mean, I don't give a shit. I'm 48 now. Yeah. But I was just sitting there going like, these are how the decisions are made. Like there's no more risk. Everybody's because they're all corporations now. They're not creative people. We don't have those old school executives like we used to in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. My generation was the last one that got that, because the first studio to sell out was Universal, and they sold out to Seagram's. And then Sony bought Columbia, and then it was just dominoes after that. But yeah, I keep getting sidetracked on all this business stuff, and I don't mean to. So anyway, Netflix, analytics and wrestling. We'll see how that goes. But the most important news of the day to me is Monday Night Raw will no longer be 3 hours, Jeff. They're moving it and cutting it down to 2, which I've always thought is the perfect amount of time. It also will mean WWE will not have as many, I predict they will not have as many wrestlers on roster as they currently do, because there won't be enough time. That's a full hour less of matches, segments, storylines, backstage segments, promos in the ring, a full hour less, which means it won't be cost effective for them to carry that many wrestlers. They are now owned by TKO, another corporation, and they will do a cost-effective, this wrestler's not being used, cut him. This wrestler's not being used, cut him, which gives more opportunities for wrestlers to go to AEW, to go to another brand if it goes out there. I know GCW and MLW are both close to, maybe I'm not supposed to say this either, but they're in talks for TV deals all over town in multiple places. That leaves room for me and my promotion, which I usually would update on a Thursday, but everything's gotten pushed to January, which sucks. But it is what it is. But it gives me more time for people's contracts to run out and business like that. So it opens up a lot of doors, and it contracts Monday Night Raw, which I always thought was an hour too long anyway. And I love the cut, but I want to know what you think about all this news, dude.
Well, I will say, like, there's 2 things will happen at one time. We're going to get the text messages from our producer, Alex. We're going to be in this group that my other wrestling that they're going to go, isn't it sad they let so-and-so go? Oh, I feel terrible they let so-and-so go. But that's just how it has to be. There's probably going to be cuts. Like, you can't have that many wrestlers and start paying them all this crazy amount. And male and female, we're talking about all the different weight classes and divisions, all the guys they're not using right now, all the women they're not using right now. It's just going to happen, especially if you cut down to 2 hours. But I do think that's how you make a better show, because you're trimming the fat. And so, like, I don't need 7 hours of good wrestling. I'll take 4 hours of great wrestling. This last week, like, the episodes they've been putting on lately, especially in WWE, have been absolutely incredible. And I've read the things on Reddit. I've read all the things on the wrestling accounts that I follow. They're like, they cut the women's match short. They only had 2 minutes, or they cut it 2 minutes short. Chelsea Green and Piper Niven, they should have been able to do their full match. Dude, they just got to trim things where they can. We got a steel cage match for like a free show, not a PLE. Just give us better wrestling. I'm all about more wrestling. We're the unique type that will watch 20 hours a week if they gave us 20 hours. But for the everyday fan and for like what the like wrestling to be good, I say trim the fat and cut who you got to cut. So I'm pretty optimistic about all these changes.
As far as like match cutting and stuff like that, I would love for people to remember, when you have a match that opens a show like this steel cage match, where there's going to be story and wrestling, where Roman Reigns is going to come out, get his reaction, and have all these moments in the ring where he's not wrestling, moments where the crowd is cheering, moments where he's sharing time with Cody, moments where they're waiting for the cameraman to get in place. This is what adds time to one segment that requires time be taken from another, because you can't plan those out perfectly.
Yeah.
If the crowd's not going to shut up because they're so friggin' hyped, you can't take that away from that live audience. You can't. You have to let them release that energy. And the wrestlers are pro enough to know. I know they like to call them superstars, but I always thought that was so stupid. It's just so over dramatic. They're wrestlers, man, and that's awesome. Actors aren't superstars; they're actors.
Right.
So they're wrestlers, and they know when that energy is fading a little bit, and then they can move on. They're pros at this. So that's going to happen, whether it's a 2-hour show, 3-hour show, 4-hour show, 5-hour show. Pick your hour. It's always going to happen. And it's going to be the storyline that is usually least important that's going to get cut. That's not always the women. When I worked there, it was men and women's matches that got cut. Undercard people's matches got cut. Men's matches got cut to 5 minutes. Women's matches that were only 5 minutes got cut to 3 minutes. Like, it happens.
And based on what you said last week, tag team matches are going to get cut quick too.
They'll cut a whole match.
Yeah,
that's right, Jeff. They'll cut a whole match. So I give them, if you can. If you can't, you can. You don't have to agree with me. But try and give them a little more latitude with that kind of stuff if you can. Because I feel like they're really trying with the women's division. Both AEW and WWE are putting effort into that. Could they do more? Sure. But you could say that about, every wrestler you like more than they do. That's the news. And that was a lot of friggin' news, y'all. But we got storyline as well. We've got the Judgment Day. The only thing I wanted to talk about on this, and we'll talk about whatever you want on this segment, is Damian Priest is fighting everybody. He's fighting 27 people from the Judgment Day. He's getting beat up. He's going to eventually fight with Finn Balor at Bad Blood, and they're going to squash this beef temporarily, but it won't be all the way over, I don't think. He's getting beat up. The numbers game, you know how the numbers game goes, Jeff. You know how it is when there's 12 comics and 11 of them are all picking on one. It's terrible. Well, that's what happened to Finn Balor until Rhea Ripley came out with crutches. And we thought, okay, they're not going to punch Rhea. She'll hit them with the crutches and bend them all up because her knee's feeling a little better. But Liv Morgan came out and whipped her ass, and everybody's getting beat down. Well, now the numbers game's too much. Everybody's getting beat up. There's only one way to save the day, and that's love. And that's what I want to talk about today, Jeff. I want to talk about the power of love. And for those of you who don't know where I'm going, some of you do because you're smart. But for those of you who are catching up a little bit, look back a few weeks ago, a few episodes on Monday Night Raw, a few more than a few, actually, a few more than a few. And you'll remember one man who saw Rhea backstage and caught her eyes, had a little moment and said, "Damn, you're looking good, Miss Ripley." And that was Jey Uso.
Yeah.
And who was the man that ran out to save the day on Monday Night Raw, Jeff Dye?
Oos.
That's right. The
Jey
Uso.
Uso.
The Uso came out of him. And he didn't come out to save Damian Priest. He came out to impress Rhea Ripley. He came out to show her, look how much ass I can whip. I know you're into whipping ass because that's what you do. Even when you pin girls, it looks like you're about to whip their ass. When you
he
pin
likes
them.
them thick.
He does. He likes the muscle mommies, as
Yes.
they call them.
Who doesn't?
And he ran out to save the day, but not to save Priest's ass. I don't know how he feels about Priest. He could just be nice. Sometimes you're nice to the girl's friend so they don't say bad things about you when you're not around. Like, oh, you don't want to date him. He sucks. You don't want to date him. His car sucks, or any of that. Just so you're extra nice to them too. So maybe that's why he's doing it. But it's the power of love, and that's going to be the storyline. And as our producer Alex likes to compare WWE, they're taking their stories right out the telenovelas.
Yeah.
What channel was that I used to watch back in the day? Telemundo. Telemundo had the telenovelas. My grandma would watch them. That and professional wrestling. Those are her two favorites. So yeah, man, love is in the air. Once again, there's a lot of love on WWE. There's a lot of love in AEW too, but a lot more love in WWE. When you have 3 hours, you got to have you recycle some stories. That's why they need to go to 2, Jeff. How are you liking the Judgment Day? And do you believe in the power of love?
I believe in the power of love. I love this. I love the way they're going with this. It felt like everybody was kind of taking shots at Rhea at that time. Jey Uso's hollering at her. You had Dirty Dom was still playing her a little bit at the time. And then her and Damian Priest have this friendly kind of like
they got the
thing.
bromance for sure.
Yeah, but it's still like you go, oh, what's going on with that? Like it feels, I don't know.
But it's like a Scully and Mulder thing. Like we want it to happen, but they know it can never happen.
What a great analogy. Yeah, I love everything that they're doing. I had no idea I'd be such a big fan of Judgment Day and ex-Judgment Day Dom. Like I thought I would hate Dom, and he's just been so stinking good. And
misunderstood.
Also, I got to say those crutches. So. You know what? I'm trying to think of an example. You know how like when they do a super kick or a Sweet Chin Music, they slap their thigh? And
Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah, once you've learned that, you kind of go, oh, that's why they're getting that loud sound. It's a little trick. It's a little thing. Well, occasionally someone will do it so well that you're like, ooh. Oh, that's why they do that trick, and that was perfect. And so same with when the guy was hitting with the crutches. I was going, I know that little trick, how it's hitting the canvas and not that, but it looked so good.
Every time I see a crutch hit, it's money. I can't remember one where I've seen one that looked fake. I don't know how they do it. I should have asked when I worked there. I'm such an idiot, but I don't want to like break rules. Like, are you allowed to ask? I never felt 100% comfortable with that stuff. But dude, I love crutch shots so much. And I love fake injuries so much. Like the Diesel one is still the best one when Kevin Nash was in the wheelchair.
Oh.
He gets out and the leg is still there, but he's got his fresh 2 legs. That's still the best injury recovery
I think of
ever.
it every single day when I'm at the airport. These ladies have like a wheelchair to go from security
like the
all
Disney
the way to
ladies?
the plane. Yeah. And then the second they get to the plane, they're like Kevin Nash, just taking the blanket off of the thing and walking onto the airplane. You're like, dude, that lady just got an airport wheelchair ride for the last 700 yards, and all of a sudden it's a miracle, you know. But I think of Kevin Nash every single day for that.
I love. Now I'm going to as well. So, is there anything else on Raw you want to talk about before we get to SmackDown?
Let's get to SmackDown.
We could talk. Okay, we'll just get to it. We'll get to it. Oh, Gunther talks some mean shit to Bret Hart, and Sammy wasn't having it. That we should mention that too. Anyway. On to SmackDown.
Great
new
episode.
era has begun. New logos, new graphics. I think we had Megan Thee Stallion. I freaking love Megan Thee Stallion, by the way. I don't know her music. I only know her by the commercials that she's done. But she was one of the most charming motherfuckers that I've ever seen in a commercial ever. I just think she's cool. I want to hang out with her. I hope that she drinks sake and wants to have a drink and just like party. I think she's so cool. And she's got the new theme music. So anyway, that's me gushing about Megan Thee Stallion. Not the Stallion, the Stallion. I did not like the new logo, as I mentioned in the beginning. I know a lot of people did. It looked weird to me. But I did like the beginning of this damn show because it started with a steel cage match. And it was a damn good one. And low key, Solo Sikoa is like, not a top dude, but he's been in nothing but top matches, and he's going to continue, and he's low-key a star on that show, and they built it quick. He went from no dialogue, none. He's just like, yeah. And anything Roman Reigns says, yeah. Like, that's it. He's the guy in Trading Places with Eddie Murphy, the two guys in jail, and the one guy's like, yeah. Like, that's Solo. And then all of a sudden he's cutting, like, Godfather monologues where he's like, I'm no boss of the bloodline, and everybody's like, yep, yeah, you're the man. And then his matches are there and he can wrestle like a beast, kicks ass. He's got the Samoan spike. It looks great. Mm-hmm. And he's now in a steel cage match opening the brand new SmackDown and basically has a match with Roman Reigns coming up to see who the real tribal chief is. I freaking love Solo Sikoa, dude. And this match was awesome. And we got it for free. We didn't have to pay for it.
Yeah, we almost got Jacob too. We almost got the Samoan werewolf to run in there and put a little hurting on Roman, but it didn't happen. He got pulled out.
I can't wait for that, dude.
Yeah,
I hope they have a one-on-one match because that dude is so badass looking, man. His teeth, his hair, he does like the hawk eyes where like they're big and round, but he kind of squints them a little, so they're like kind of squinty, like Renee Zellweger's face. And he's just like, you know what I mean, though? Like, he just looks like they get like sharp, like, he's badass, dude. Anyway, there was a big, they told multiple stories in this at the end. Roman Reigns comes out. He has a moment with Cody. He has a moment with Solo. And then at the end of the show, he comes back out and he's like, hey, look, I know shit's changing, but I don't change. I'm Roman Reigns and I'm the fucking man. This is my fucking show. And everybody's got to deal with that. And we hear the Cody Rhodes music. I'm really bad at the lyrics of these songs. He came out and he was like, dude, what are you even talking about, bro? This isn't how they wrote it, by the way. He's like, what are you even talking about? This was your WWE until I beat that ass. And I took this title. And now it's my freaking WWE. And then instead of that being what we think is going to happen, Solo comes out and he's like, F both of y'all. You're both old and over. This is going to be my WWE. It just isn't yet, but I already took the bloodline. And Roman Reigns is like, you better slow your roll, young man. I'm signing this contract. And then the crowd gets what they want at the end. They get the good ending.
I am tired of this, though. I keep saying the same thing. It's like, this family's just such a dysfunctional family if this is how they're
You
fighting.
want order in the bloodline. You really do.
Get your shit together and take on the whole locker room of WWE. What does that create? That creates a complete opportunity for every one of those guys in the back who's just sitting around waiting for someone to give them a chance. Now it could become not Raw versus SmackDown. It becomes the Bloodline versus WWE.
Everyone. Yeah.
Because every goddamn match will be somebody from the Bloodline.
And then it's a physical representation of that awesome tree that The Rock displayed when it was going to be The Rock versus Roman, right? Yeah. You're getting to actually see these guys, and you can then teach the young kids about the older generation by bringing some of these guys back that are still alive while they're still alive. And you can introduce the new younger generation, and they have enough people to actually do this dream scenario for you. So it's who's going to unite them, as William Wallace said, unite the clans, unite them. That's from Braveheart. They have to have somebody who unites them all together. And I don't know if it's Roman, because he likes to rule with an iron fist. What if it was someone crazy that came out who was injured and all of a sudden came out the woodwork? I'm not saying Jimmy Uso would be the right one, but what if it was like Jey Uso who brought everyone together?
Well, what it could be is they could act like this has all been a swerve. They could be like, oh man, we were playing along the whole time. Roman is the tribal chief, and we were just setting you all up. This has been
There's been too much violence against Roman for me to buy the swerve, because they threw him through a table. But otherwise, but they could be reunited, and I think eventually they will. And they could be like 12, 15, 20 dudes deep. You could bring Nia Jax in. There's there's so many options you could do. And then faction, it'd be the largest faction ever.
We don't have to like listen each week listen to Rikishi cry on his podcast about how they're not giving his boys enough time.
Wait, what? Are you mad at Rikishi?
Yes, it's every week that they're not.
You're always mad at a wrestler. It was Bret Hart a few weeks ago.
Well, Bret Hart's a baby too.
Why
guys are all babies.
They're not, man. They're like the old way, and they believe in their kids. They want to see the right opportunities come. If you were Samoan or if you were Canadian, you would probably be the same way. They're more sensitive than you, Jeff.
I get that I'd be sensitive about my kids, but it's like running a little league team. Every parent thinks their kid should be hitting. My kid should be the starting pitcher, and it's not how it works. This is a team. We all got to work together. You can't just not only are everyone in Rikishi's family the most famous people in the goddamn company, but now it's not enough. Nothing's enough for these wrestlers. Oh, if I could
Rikishi, I'm on your side. I completely disagree with Jeff. I think everyone should be the most over person in the company as well. So I'm on Rikishi's side. Ha.
It's ridiculous.
And Brett, I'm on your side too.
If I could just get a contract, it would be my dream to get a contract with WWE.
Who wants a contract?
And then they get a contract with WWE and they're like, but they're not using me enough. They're not using me enough.
Well, wait a sec. Let me throw this. Hold on.
And they're like, well, how come I'm not the champion of the champion of the champion? Then they get the championship. Then they're like, but they don't pay me enough. I'm the top dog.
No. This one, I'm totally on the opposite side. And wrestlers will tell you this too, dude. If you don't think you should be the top dude, and if you don't see a plan for you to get there, get out of the fucking business. That's what Scott Hall said. Kevin Nash has said. JBL said. Hulk, all the way down the line. So in that regard, hell no. I'm not. I can't be with that, because these guys should, whether we think they are or not, is a whole different conversation. Like, I'm with you on this in regards to, hey, you're not gonna be a top guy. I see you as a mid-card guy. But in that dude's head, if his head was there especially as a young wrestler, then get out. You should be thinking you can be the top dude. And then when you have age and perspective and you understand the business more, you fall into the position that you're supposed to be in. So I agree with you with that, but their mentality can't be that going in. The mentality has to be more. I'm hungry. I want more. Give me more. I can handle more. It breeds a
lot of complaining. It breeds a lot of
that's art, dude. That's every artist I know.
The business did me wrong. They don't pay me enough, or they don't and then they're not using me. They're not using me. And now they cut me. It's like no matter what, it's the strange, never enough thing. Solo Sikoa was virtually unknown years ago. And now he's one of the main guys of the main guys. I was going through an airport in one of these towns. I don't remember where I was at. And the advertisement for the pay-per-view was just Solo Sikoa and his boys, like in a car. And I was like, wow, like that's top billing. I mean, this
But
guy,
I don't
like,
hear
we
those guys saying anything. Granted, I'm not,
No.
I don't hear Reddit page. I don't know any of that stuff, but I don't
No,
hear
they're
them
not
saying
complaining.
anything.
No, they're not complaining right now.
Then
because
their dad can.
Let's
he can.
say-
he's exterior now, man. He can
let's
do that.
jump to like a year from now where the Wyatt Six is maybe the main storyline. And now the Usos are all the, bloodline's going to be like, what is going on? What you forgot about? I'm just saying that's how I see it.
Now. I hear you. We can agree to disagree and still be bros. We're the only two people left in America that can do that. But since everybody else gets pissed off, but I still love you. I just want them to get more money. All right, you guys, we are going to end today's episode. We didn't talk any AEW. I didn't love the last episode of Dynamite. There wasn't too much to talk about other than Will Ospreay's pretty freaking awesome. We will get into our special guest Thursday. We are bringing in, well, it's someone that I feel I can relate to, being the son of a legendary stand-up comic. Our next guest is I won't even say if it's a son or daughter, is the offspring of a legend of the business. So stay tuned for that on Thursday. I hope you guys are excited. I'm excited to interview. Almost said him or her, but I didn't. We'll get into that on Thursday. So stay tuned. On behalf of Jeff Dye, I'm Freddie Prinze Jr. You guys are awesome. Thanks for tuning in. Peace.
We out.
This has been a production of iHeart's My Cultura Podcast Network. For more podcasts from iHeartRadio, visit the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.